Hello folks, I'm LA Little with TA Today. Had to take a little personal time off about a week and back now, but boy, a lot of stuff happened in a week. We saw resource stocks pummeled: gold, silver, platinum, palladium. I mean, just let's take a few. Here's gold to start with. Big spike down right now. The thing you want to point out here, and I know folks are going to look at this and say, hey, going right back to highs, going to new highs. Yeah, maybe, but realistically, this is a range now, right? You got a range. That range, it's going to stick for a while. You're going to build it out. You're going to build it out over here as well. You're going to build it out on the weekly, maybe to that swing point high. That's going to be your range. That's fine. I mean, gold. I mean, look at the move that gold made. I mean, when you go from, back here at, less than 200 up to 500, you need a little break. And that's okay, right? Look at your volume bars here. That's this little intersection right there at 400, which basically translates to about 4,000. That's where this thing's going to have to do its work. And that's great, right? That sets up opportunity. You can trade that opportunity. That's true here. It's true elsewhere. I mean, we can look at silver. You got the same sort of thing. Here's silver itself. Is silver going back to the highs? Well, this is a range. You go to your weekly, you got volume up there, and that's what you want. So eventually, this goes back to the highs. But what's it going to do? It's going to take time. It's going to consolidate. It's going to bounce around. I mean, that's what these things do when they make these kinds of moves. Use the volatility to your favor. It's going to be true on everything you look at. Platinum, palladium, right? Every one of these are set up the same way. If I go to the gold stocks, here's the juniors, right? Here's the majors. They're all going to set up ranges, folks. Use the ranges to your advantage. Look at what is more strong than others. Uranium, right? Uranium doesn't have that same look that you have elsewhere. Why? Because uranium hasn't made the huge move yet, right? That's the difference. You got volume on this spike. It's going to go back to the highs. Got it there. Going to go back to the highs. This, maybe it's going to consolidate as everything else consolidates. That makes sense. But the big move is still to come in this one. Hey, before I go on, I want to look at some more things. I want to look at the S&P in particular, the NASDAQ. Major indexes, they got problems here. Just like we're seeing these problems, we haven't seen it in the indexes yet, although the NDX has been telling us it has problems. But before I go to that, I want to ask you, if you like what I'm doing, take a look at the past videos that I put out. They're not always all on target. You can't expect that, but the majority of them are. The majority of them make you money if you take a look at them, right, and see what's going on when I put them out. If you like what I'm doing, please give me a like, put comments down there, share the videos. All of that helps to slowly grow the channel. I appreciate it. Let's go look at S&P. Now, one of the things I've talked about, and again, here's another clue. Here's Bitcoin. Look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's already came back to test these lows, right? Hasn't broken yet, and this is not showing a break. Matter of fact, this is showing a test failure, which means you're going to get another bounce back into this retest regen bar. It's a big wide price spread bar, so you can make it back up to 84, 85 pretty easy, right? If you look over here on the monthly, there's the test. Matter of fact, let's do it this way. Let's put up the retest regen. I wrote an article about this on Substack. If you follow Substack, that's a swing point high. Top of it's 7375. We got as low as 72.8. So we actually touched into it, testing the low, right? This thing's going to bounce the first time. It should, at least. Shouldn't get much lower than about this high, which is 69 roughly. It could get as low as about 69, still be normal. But you got to expect a bounce out of that. That's a monthly. That means that this is going to take a while to totally break down and go to wherever it's going to go. But Bitcoin, to me, to see a move from the 120 plus down to 75, 73, or whatever it is now, that's a big move, right? You're going to expect some sort of a bounce in here, maybe. The way these things usually work out, especially when you're coming back into a retest regen that hasn't been tested way more than 6 bars, you're going to get a long, drawn out bounce, and then eventually this thing comes back down again. So, don't be surprised if that happens. The main thing about Bitcoin is it's telling us risk off. For whatever reason, it's a liquidity-driven event. That says that liquidity is coming out of the market, and I just stopped on that because I was on my way to the S&P, but that is a big part of what's happening here. Let's go to the S&P now. The S&P just does not want to break down. You're up here in this range, this tight range. Let me take these things off. You're up into this tight range, right? And it's just, 6, 7 months now, weeks, just going crossed, right? Doesn't want to give it up. And if you go to the daily over here, let's take a look at this one. If you go to the daily, you got a swing point low here, swing point low there, high here, and this is going to end up being a high. So what do you got? You got a broadening type pattern taking place. Broadening type patterns happen at tops. They're not, that's risk on, folks. So this could actually come back and test this pretty easy, 67.21, right? This number here, 6720. So look for the S&P. You just got a bearish engulfing. You've got, they want to hold it up, and you're still seeing rotation, but there's a lot of pressure to bring this down. And where's the pressure coming from? It's coming from the NASDAQ. In particular, it's coming from the MAGs. And so when we look at let's look at the MAGs real quick, because this is where people are rotating out of. And the MAGs have been in this consolidation, but you can see here, MAGs have never been able to get over the top of the retest regen, the bearish retest regen, which is this one and this one over here, right? So it's been trying to get over those, unable to do it. Now what does it do? It's getting ready to regenerate to the downside. Right? If you can't take it to the upside, they're going to go back and test the downside, and that's what they're doing. Get under these swing point lows again. It's a regeneration. Where can it go? It can definitely go to that swing point low, go to that swing point low, which is that swing point low, which if it breaks, goes back to the bullish retest regens. And you don't have a strong one until you get back to 50. Now, I don't think it's going straight to 50, but if you look over here, that's about 58, which is this area up here. So I would think that's the target, right? 58, 59 area. That's a good piece down. It's $4 off of 6. So you're talking about 7, 8%. That's the MAGs, and let's quickly look at the NDX. Where's the NDX? Right here. So the NDX is being weighed down because of the MAGs. You can see the real buy support is way down at 23. That swing point high, 22, 2222. Bearish engulfing, same thing I talked about on the S&P, the broadening type thing. Swing point high, swing point high, swing point high. Lower lows, right? That's a broadening pattern. That's dangerous. Started a short on this S&P. We're going to probably do the same with the NASDAQ. Is it gonna blow up and go straight down? Probably not. It's going to take a while. What you haven't seen here, though, which you've seen elsewhere, is you haven't seen the big 4 or 5% in a day kind of move. Now, I don't know. It's harder to do it on these broader indexes. But I would expect a 3 to 4% or somewhere to shock people. And so I would look at that swing point low as a target, break it. You go to the next one, and then you go down here eventually. So markets are dangerous, folks. There's not, think about it this way. Think about reward and risk. How much reward do I have? In other words, how far can it go? Well, probably the top of the range. How far can it go to the downside? Well, swing point low or back to real support. A lot more risk to the downside than there is to the upside. And that's the story out here. Why take the risk in this situation? Whether it's here, whether it's the S&P, it just doesn't make sense to take the risk at this price point. Small caps have been the one that benefited the most They're getting their little bounce now, but I suspect they're going to do the same thing, come back in along with everything else. What you're going to see is everything's going to correlate to one. Everything's going to move the same. We've already seen it in resources. We've already seen it elsewhere. I mean, look at your software stocks. There's so many cracks out there, right? It's just so many cracks out there. What hasn't cracked yet? Socks. Here, let's pop the socks up. Is it going to crack? Starting to. Folks, it's on the walls out here. It's written. Pay attention to what's happening. The market's talking to you. If you don't listen to it, then you're going to be a victim of it. That's what I got to tell you today. Have a great one. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time.